I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Smack 'em a gob, it's time for the only news that matters. And putting out an album isn't always the artist's choice. The biggest names in music still have higher-ups that have to answer to, and even if they aren't at their creative best, they might still have to go into the studio kicking and screaming to fulfill their record contract. While Led Zeppelin had reached a point where they could hardly be touched by anybody, Robert Plant felt that some of the releases that the record company put out were completely pointless. When the band first started, though, there was no reason to put out anything that didn't have Jimmy Page's seal of approval first. But the band themselves operated as a democracy half the time. Page was the one steering the ship half the time. So hearing them put out their material as an album first without singles is half the reason why a lot of their best songs held up so well. That's not to say that there weren't great moments that didn't work in chunks. Stairway to Heaven is still one of the finest ballads in rock history, in my opinion, the greatest. And Immigrant Song is the best example of a precursor of heavy metal, but if they aren't taken in the rest of their retrospective albums, fans are leaving a lot of great deep cuts on the table, whether that's Tangerine or When the Levee Breaks. Right as the band started branching out into new territory, no one could have predicted that John Bonham would pass away. Despite being known as one of the most indestructible men in rock and roll, Bonzo sadly died in tragic circumstances that could have continued if they wanted to, but who else is going to have that kind of animalistic sound behind them? So while stopping might have been the best policy at the time, the record label had other ideas. Even if there wasn't much new material to speak of, Coda was put together as a posthumous release for the group, even having a nice tribute to the late drummer by showcasing his soloing on Bonzo's Montrose, and including a handful of leftovers from their albums. Outside of a few decent tracks though, Plant thought that putting out this kind of record was entirely pointless. He said, "I didn't have anything to do with it. When Coda was discussed, I don't know, I just kind of had enough of the whole thing. If you start playing from something other than just kudos and money, then that should be part of the motive all the way through. And when Bonzo died, it's the only reason to start staying actively involved with Led Zeppelin. Admittedly, it's not like anyone expected the long-awaited masterpiece to come from beyond the grave. Everyone wanted the opportunity to hear a new version of Led Zeppelin. But given how little meat is on the record and its inclusion on another version of I Can't Quit You Baby, the whole record feels more like an extended bootleg that happened to have the record company's seal of approval. While it might have been a fine way to usher Led Zeppelin into the 80s CDs in the 80s, Coda is still the last piece someone should go in there looking for the pure Zeppelin experience. It still has its fair share of surprises like every Zeppelin album, but it's hard to judge a song like Ozone Baby on the same level that everyone looked at Rock and Roll and Whole Lotta Love. Yeah, Coda to me was a huge disappointment. I just think that shit should have came out like on some kind of weird box set. You know, like what Zeppelin did in the 90s, in 1990, I believe. release those box sets with those Coda songs, because they're really, I believe they're pointless, but there are people that like those songs. You know, I know I heard Martin Popoff talk about some songs that I just don't like on it. The only thing I like on it is Wearin' and Tearin', which is crazy that was from the Into the Outdoor sessions, because, boy, that song is way too heavy for Into the Outdoor. It's kind of odd that it was from that era. But, you know, I like that, and I liked We're Gonna Groove. It's fucking amazing. Those two things. And We're Gonna Groove is a live performance from, you know, when they were a brand new band. So that smokes. And Wearin' and Tearin'. I don't like Darlene, Bonzo's Macho, Poor Tom, all that stuff. You know, I just don't like it, you know? It wasn't like Physical Graffiti. Now, Physical Graffiti, a lot of those songs are from other albums, sessions from other albums. I know there's something from Zeppelin 3 and Zeppelin 4, you know, and House of the Holy. They were all recorded during that time, and then they threw them on Physical Graffiti, you know, with some new songs, and that's my favorite Zeppelin album of all time. You know, I didn't know till many years later that a lot of those songs were like rejected songs from past albums. Where some of those songs I thought were the best songs from those albums it was rejected by, you know? It's weird. But Coda, you know, too bad it wasn't like Physical Graffiti, you know, because they took all the good bonus stuff for Physical Graffiti and just left nonsense for Coda. You know, I went out and bought Coda, and then later on I bought this other one with a bonus. They had bonus tracks like Baby I'm Coming Home outtake, which is cool, and Traveling Riverside Blues I love. The White Summer Black Mountainside, that cool acoustic piece, and the amazing Hey Hey What Can I Do, the B-side for Immigrant Song. I mean, why didn't they make the original one, you know? And then add like, you know, stuff like Poor Tom and I Can't Quit You, which is, you know, oh, they're re-recording. It's just another version of that, a live version of a song I don't even like. I don't like I Can't Quit You, and I don't like You Shook Me. I love everything else off that first album. So here we have another one, another version of it, which I just found, yeah, I just don't like Coda, man. I just don't like it, but there are people out there that do like it. There's people out there that like Ozone Baby or Darlene, you know, or Walter's Walk and Poor Tom, you know, hey. But you see, there's something out there for everybody. Hey, I think the worst song ever written was a hit. A lot of people love 1979 from Smashing Pumpkins. I find it to be the most annoying song ever. So what do I know, man? If y'all like Ozone Baby and Darlene, remember, I hate 1979. A hit record. But anyway, that's it for the Only News That Matters. Thank you all for watching. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And ring that little notification bell. And let me know what you feel about Coda. I really would want to know. And like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath. Skip Coda. Listen to Physical Graffiti. And smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.